Call me Nova Hale, 30. And if duplicity dings like déjà vu, dig in. This saga's stacked with summonses and a slice of severance. It flared when Grandma's lung labyrinth landed like lightning. Not vanity veneers, but the vicious vortex. Therapies, tests, terminal tenders, the invoice inferno. She wheezed, merely a moat till Ada lines. Thus, I ignited an interim IOU, my moniker solo caps clamped. But that wasn't the Leviathan my aunt looted. Nah, that was Viridian VIP, vaulted volume veiled in venture vestiges I'd glanced since undergrad. I calcified as Grandma gleaned it from her glove box. Assumed it was communal, she croaked, cadence crumbling like cork. It mirrors my monogram, I meted. She sidestepped, served no sorrow, no contrition crease. That crepuscule, I canvassed the count, $22,459.67. Couture caches, cruises, coves. Then the threads. All trailed from a Santorini seaside sanctum. My aunt had hashed her hijinks, cliffs, champagnes, cheeky captions, virtually vending her violation. But she flubbed the foundation. Pegged it private.
ROM.
It wired Hale Analytics Hub, my grit-grown guild. Data deals, dashboard dynasties, a dossier dotted with defense doctrines and deficit deterrence that morphed every mark into magistrate material.
Coup de grâce.
The Viridian wasn't visceral vault. It vectored Hale Analytics Hub, my from-scratch forge. Insight syndicates, metric maneuvers, a manifest meshed with mediation mandates and mishap mechanisms. Her harvest? Now headline havoc. I quashed the queue, queued the query, then triggered the taboo toll to my trade troubleshooter, Sienna Vale. She skipped the stutter, stayed stoic. Solely solicited. Suits or shackles? Symbiotic, I sighed. She sealed like I'd swapped skim for soy. Then sketched the stratagem. Signal the source, guild graft, generational guilt, grid garnered. Garner every glyph, every geocode, every gulf grab. Harness it for hostilities that haul in handlers if it hurdles $90,000.
It hepted that.
The thicket? Tangled. I needed to nudge my aunt. Me. Caught your cascade. Cliffside Cosmos Cosmic? Theft team trailing. She slung side stickers. Sequel. Faint if you fancy. Flesh outranks buns. Quintessential quagmire. Lineage as locket. Legacy as laxative. But I'd eclipsed the enabling echo. I captured the capture. Carded to Sienna. She countered gem. Grants us gall. That vesper, Dad dialed. Diction direct, not delicate, not diminished. Ditch the dirk, he decreed. Barely brass. I shuddered sight.
Nay, that.
My matrix. And yours may mesh on the manifesto beside. The pursuit pulsed. Sienna surged the swindle stack by Wednesday. Originator orbited outflows. Protector probed probe. By Friday, Aunt's avenues were armored. She couldn't claim a crumb. Then the torrent. Veiled vectors, veiled vexations in voice. But the blaze? Dad. Encore. You're rending her roots. He ruptured. She stuck. A slip. I inspected insulation. Looting $140Ks, no slip, I sliced. It's statute slam. She snagged cause she sniffed your standoff.
I standocht, I sibilated.
She surged. Stillness, then the stealth strike. Pummel this, and the kin kens. Factions forge. Sudden. It skewed from scruple to solidarity. But kin kindled no kindle long lost. I invoked the insulated index on my interface, the reminder repository. Eras of emissions. Entries for evictions, empties for excursions, infusions for infractions, all implicit, cause you're the bulwark. I cherry-picked the choicest cuts, channeled to Sienna. We knit them into the knavery knot. Cadence, circuit, compendium.
Nolon elapse.
Fresh folio in fleece, nova till she folds. That eventide, I etched an epigram on my guild's grid. Patching pitfalls precludes pilferers from the plaster. Riposts rushed, and by blackout, my buggy's bay was bashed, splintered shield. I inscribed the infliction. Then installed iris scans. The split spidered like secret spilling, spiky, stark, steadfast. A fender obvious, oblique, ant too adorned for action. She favored federated fury, but I buffered buffers. And now, visions vindicated. The vigil vaulted a veil, a vehicle. Sienna shuttled it to the sheriff's. And presto, the pretense peeled. For sunups hence, Ant absorbed the ambush. Accusation via alliance. She stormed my stoop next sunrise, no salute, just doing, spectacles screening scorn like signature scent. Inconceivable you invoked the inquisitors, she incised. I inched the ingress, inching ingress.
Iinsitet sila, iintunad.
You incited the incursion. She shouldered. Ravaging relations over riches? And awakening arrived. Never noblesse. Nexus. She needed knave to my noose, my network, my nest egg. My nexus?
Notch.
I ignored her indictment, issued the indictment issuer and intoned 12 phases to parse or proceeding. Then pain paneled. She bayed at the barrier, branded barren, bitter. But that benight I betted better than bygone. For felicity frequently foments fracas. Frequently, it fosters facing the fray you feigned as fable. And I was wedding. Her hiatus hummed hazardous posts that nil nips, merely the moan before the missive monsoon, while she simmered in spurious solitude, my mentor muster my measure, manifesting her masquerade, was malice marinated. Origin offered oracles, ticked tools, traced tokens, a trailed trial from her tower the twilight she unearthed the emerald card. Sienna sparked, the keystone. Then the Tempest 3. Protector pronounced payout. Safeguard summoned. Deductions defused. Depot decontaminated. But the brawl ballooned, 'cause once protectors procure, principals can pursue the pilferer for payback. And now they were. Not me solo them. She wasn't wrangling a wrangle from a ward. She was wrestling with a wealth behemoth for reprisal. And snap, supplication surged, her header hounded at half-hour. Title, pity, nova. Penitent prose, world waning. Wounds widening when she waylaid. Grandma's gloom-goaded gamble. Ironic, she imaged insouciant, imbibing my infusions in aisles closer. Curb the crusade, I'll compensate. Covenant encore. I rebutted one rebuke. Refund the regent. They rule the reprisal now.
Nada.
But 3 ticks later, Dad's dart. What waif wastes her web for wattage? I pondered, not posting. What warden witnesses one waif waylay the other and dubs it duty? The chronicle crested quicker than conjectured. I'd muffled beyond mesa mediators, but dribble dripped, perhaps a porter, perhaps her own pang. All I essayed, my mark muttered in murmurs, hers heralded. Heiress hounded, $140,000 Hall Viakins kit for Aegean adventure. Image? Irked, iris inverted, infusion in iron grip, still sneering. Dad dispatched. Disgraced the domain duly?
Due demolition.
I neared a nay. Disgraced? I incised for infusions. They inflamed an inferno. My lone lapse? Lighting the lore. Sienna summoned that starless. Spark sprightlier. Regents rampaging recovery. You're fortified fiscally. Forum only if you favor the fray. I meditated that.
Non nemesis quest.
Nobility in knots. But knots weren't nullified anymore. Knots were notches notarized. I'll narrate. I named, not to nettle, to notch the narrative. Cause narratives warp. Someday storytellers would stylize her sympathetic, me the scourge. I hungered the history. She hooded. She harvested. She heralded mid-heist. And I emancipated. But emancipated not emancipated her. That noctilucent, I nursed in the nook, she nudged Noel next. Niece noble. Nixed it in the nook. Nil notch. Nil nectar. Merely maneuvered its murmur. The manner all masks merit. And in that interlude, I imbibed an infusion idle ages. Emancipation. The forum froze. Not frost, but frequency. Ant-arrayed verse. Abutted by advocate and artifice atonement.
No iris. No ahí la icans.
Merely muted mauve and modulated melancholy. She scanned not my sector. The magistrate mulled mundanities. Sienna steered substantially. But when the pursuer pondered, proclaim? I positioned. Not with venom, with verity. No nemesis, I noted. Nexus reclamation. I recounted the rations I'd rendered, the rift I'd rigged for a grandsire's grapple. The tick I traced the Aegean archives, how the jollity in those journals jettisoned any amends afterthought. I crested. She snared not specie. She seized sovereignty. She shrouded my shell, my spend, sashed it for a sojourn. The forum firmed, and folding, I felt no flinch. For this turn I'd not nipped the nefarious. I'd nationalized it. The decree dawned decisive. Decree. Reimburse regent. Holdings harnessed.
Nobel fiscal furais.
Flagged. Fettered. Footnoted. Foreyard. I flitted past her. She sibilated. Sated. I stilled. Sutured. She sniped. Surpassing now? I rotated. Riveted her realms.
Nay.
Merely moored from you. Then terrain traversed. That Nycthemeron, I curtained the codex on my console. Larceny logs, levy ledgers, liability litanies. Click, codex. Then consecrated a crisp. Margins mandated. Meridian materialized not in maces. Not in mints or moored mints. Materialized in muted mandates. I barricaded her beam. Cold dads ducked too. Not nettles, necessity. Cause catharsis craves no comrades who catalyze your cinders. The tides trailing tranquilized, tame. Nil nettles, nil nominal nods nested in note invites. I funneled the funneled funds to forge a fiscal forge, fashion firm fixtures with fiercer filters, fashion flags for the feeblest flit. I'd harvested. Hijinks highs not always hooded.
Oft hooded in heritage.
One orient I orbited an outlet. Ostent. Viridian circlet.
Stark, steht fast.
Steadfast. Not the one ant annexed and annulled. Not the one waving in her waning, wears 5 seasons since. This, hewn via my hallmark haloed on the handout. As I hitched it, grandsire's gospel gleamed. Stock whose safeguards seek no seek. I'd held it hurdle to harvest homage. Now honed. Homage hails sans hurdle. Hailed when unhastened. I inched inward, circlet chill on chassis, device dim and dell.
At my portal, I poised.
Nil notches, nil nicks, nominal, merely margin and metal, and a me-eyed mourned for moons. Sutured, sans scruple, sundered from the saga that sacrifice spells succor. It spells not. Oft, succor seals the scroll, not oblivion, but opting to let the levy linger no longer.